here we have it then. 1 month. The Kawasaki ZX9R. Whew, it's been a good month. Northwest 200 is this weekend. Be going up with my fiance on the back of the bike. Should be a good Saturday. So this is a little 1 month update of just what I think of the bike after 1 month of ownership. Changed one of the headlights to blue, one to yellow. Well, slightly blue and slightly yellow. Just think it looks pretty cool. I've got the other blue one in the house. To be honest, I am going to change them both because they'll look better. I'm not even sure if it's legal for you to have one yellow and one blue, but sure. So today I'm on my way up to Ballymena to get a pin lock for the new dark visor that I've got, which I'm enjoying a lot because I used to just wear sunglasses with a clear visor because it was too tight to buy a dark one. But I thought, do you know what, coming in the summer, I think this year I just want the dark visor. So this is going to be sort of part 1 month ownership review and part audio test to see if this microphone actually works at motorway speeds. Here we are sitting at 70. Hope you can hear me well enough. So 1 month of ownership with the Kawasaki ZX9R. What do I think? I think it's my favorite bike that I've ever owned. 100%. It's an absolute joy to ride. Got the Northwest 200 coming up this weekend. So last week rather, I did a bunch of work to the bike. So I did all fluids changed. So I changed oil, I changed brake fluid. The oil change and the fluid change and the brakes have made a big difference to the way the bike feels. Now some of that's probably just in my head, but things like the gear changes are a little bit smoother. So yeah, really lovely bike to ride. I have got used to the power and it's no longer making me a little bit nervous whenever I open up the throttle. So I've got quite comfortable with it now, and it's still just as enjoyable as it ever was, but I'm just a bit more used to it now. So we're heading up through Carrickfergus and into Larne, because I want to get footage for a time-lapse video that I'm going to do. That's a video, the video title is going to be the southernmost point of Ireland, or rather the southernmost point of Northern Ireland to the northernmost point in 10 minutes. And I'm going to do it as a time-lapse. That should be good. There's going to be a lot of bikers coming up this road at the weekend. Leave pretty early on Saturday morning, take the coast road up to Portrush for the Northwest 200, and me and my partner will be doing exactly the same. One of my favourite days of the year. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun even to look at all the bikes. So what can I tell you about the ZX9R after a month of ownership? It's my favourite bike I've owned. I've had all the fairings off and changed all the fluids and done everything to it, so I feel like it's really my bike now. I never really feel like it's my bike until you've sort of done all those things and been into the guts of it. So I've had the airbox out and swapped it for a K&N air filter, which I've taken out and cleaned and replaced. So everything is good to go with the bike, and it feels really healthy. I also swapped out one of the headlights for like a 150% brighter one that I got from Halfords. It uses xenon technology, so there's special gas inside it, I think. So it's a bit more blue and a bit more bright, and I haven't swapped the other one yet because to be honest, the first one was so fidgety to get in at, I just haven't been bothered to do the second one yet, but I will do it before long. I'll do it before the weekend actually, so that they're matching for going up to the northwest. So what else can I tell you that I haven't told you in the first one? Well, that policeman just bloody cut across lanes then. The power is astonishing, the comfort's there, the ergonomics are there, the looks are there, the styling. Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of the bike, massive fan. The only thing that I don't like is that it has so many miles on it. It's got 30,000 miles, and I wish it were slightly younger so that I could keep it for longer, because I think, sort of generally speaking, once bikes get up to like, what, 40,000 miles, especially for sports bikes, people aren't really looking for them. You know, it's hard to sell them on. So I want to sell this on really before it becomes worth, you know, a lot less than I bought it for. I bought it for $2.5 grand, which will probably surprise some of you, because yes, the prices of bikes and cars recently have gone through the roof. But I sold my VFR 800 for about 1,800 and bought this for $2.5 grand. So what's that? It's cost me £700 to change bikes, and changing to a bike that's 20,000 miles fresher and a lot more fun to ride, really, a lot more fun to own, and looks better. So I was happy with that. But I bought this for $2.5 grand, and I don't really want to sell it for like 1.5, you know, in 15,000 miles, because you can't get a whole lot of motorbike for 1.5. That means me having to spend another grand or two to pick something up. So I think what I'll do with this is, it's got 30,000 miles on it at the minute. I'll probably keep it until about 36,000 miles, and 36,000 miles I will probably sell it on and get something fresher. I don't really know what I'll get at this stage, but well, actually I have been thinking about what my next bike might be, and I'm thinking that it might be the Triumph Speed Triple. Possibly a sort of 2004, 2005. I think it's the Triumph Speed Triple 955i, is that what they call it? Because I think it looks awesome. It's naked, it's more upright, which I think I'll fancy after having this sports bike. And I've never owned a triple before, never owned a 3-cylinder, and from what I hear, they're lovely. Well, in fact, no, I've taken one out for a test ride. I took a new speed triple, or I took a street triple out for a test ride, and the 3-cylinder engine in it was really lovely. So I'm thinking that's what might be the next bike, but for the time being, for at least probably a year or two, I'm going to hold on to this because I'm really enjoying it, and it's got everything that I want on it, really. It misses nothing. I mean, it doesn't have any ABS or traction control or anything like that, because it's a year 2000 motorbike. But none of my bikes have had those things, so it's not like I don't miss them, because I've never had them. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be different opinions online or in the comments or what, but some people saying that they nanny you. Some people say that they take away from the experience. Some people say, oh no, it's totally worth having because of how much more safe it makes the bike. But I have never had any of that stuff, and I've never had a crash. I came off the bike once whenever I was about 17 or 18, travelling into college on the motorbike first thing in the morning. It was a wet morning, and I was going past some traffic, and at the side of the road there was a pile of leaves and a puddle, and I tried to go through the middle between the leaves and the puddle and put the brakes on just slightly going through, and it must have slipped on a leaf, and I went down at about probably 10 miles an hour. Hurt my ankle a bit, but I was fine. That was on my little Honda CG125, another bike that I absolutely loved. Really loved that bike. In fact, I've been looking online to see if I can try and find one of those that's in the same style as the one that I originally had. The one I had was, I think it was a 2008. It was black, chrome exhaust and a single front headlight, one of the round ones. And I would love to own one of those bikes again as a second motorbike, because they're so good on fuel and they're so much fun just to twiddle around on. Like, big bikes are great like this because they've got stacks of power and they're monsters, like, and you feel like a monster whenever you're on it. But a little small displacement bike, there's nothing that can match that type of fun. It's a totally different type of fun, obviously, between that and this. And you can't get the sort of fun on a Honda CG as you would get on this, but in the same way, you don't get the type of fun on this that you get on a Honda CG or a little 125 or a 250. Oh, they're so light and fun and nimble, and you can take them anywhere. I remember having that Honda CG in my dad's back garden. My dad used to have a pretty big back garden. I'd take it in, pretend it was a scrambler, and skid the back wheel out and everything. It was great. Until I had to reseat the lawn. So what else about the ZX9R? What can I tell you if you're thinking of getting one? I would say, well, all the usuals really. Look for one that looks like it's been treated well. If you can get one that's been well looked after. A number of people in the previous video that I did, the review that I did, a couple of them are writing that they have ZX9Rs with 80,000 miles or something on them, which is really, really impressive, because sports bikes, the engines are in a high state of tune. So to run an engine that, is revving up to 11,000, 12,000 revs for 80,000 miles is pretty impressive. I don't think that Kawasaki's generally run for quite as long or is quite as reliable as something like a Honda. Honda are just known for making bulletproof bikes, but it's pretty clear that if you look after your ZX9R, it will last a very long time. Last week I did an oil and filter change, took the air filter out, cleaned it, got it back in. I took the front brake calipers apart, cleaned them all down. There was a lot of crap all stuck in them, and some of the pistons weren't moving very freely. So I did that, as well as changed the brake pads, so new brake pads on the front, brake fluid and coolant change, as well as adjusting cables and adjusting levers and stuff. Just getting the bike up to standard, really. And I'm a big proponent of either, whenever you buy a new bike, taking it to a garage to get all that stuff done and get a full fresh service, regardless of what the previous owner has said has been done to it, because you never know if they're just telling porcupines. And you want to make sure you've got a bike that's fully serviced and up to date with its servicing. Either take it to a garage, or if you're handy enough, then do it all yourself. But the beauty of doing it all yourself is that whenever you get all the fairings off the bike, and you really get in there and you get looking at it, and you see which cables are going where and what way the electrical system works, and taking the airbox off and stuff like this, you feel a lot more familiar with the bike, and then you feel a lot more comfortable that it's all good and healthy, and you also feel it's almost like an initiation between you and the bike, where you feel like partners once you've done all that, don't you, kid? See, I'm a big believer in doing all that, regardless of what the previous owner said has been done to the bike. What's this we've got here? Suzuki V-Strom, nice bike, considered one of them in the past. I did have to replace the generator as well as the regulator rectifier in this bike, because the charging system was just kaput. So it's got new battery, new regulator rectifier and new generators. Charging system is completely new and healthy, which is another good thing just for peace of mind. So combine that with the fact that I've done all the maintenance parts and fresh brake pads. The bike feels good as new. One thing I have considered doing is just adjusting the front suspension a little bit, and maybe taking some of the preload off the front forks, because it can be pretty harsh. So 1 month review, yep, really happy, everything's going well, and yeah, I still highly recommend these bikes to anyone who has got 2 or 3 grand and wants a sport bike that is quicker than a 600, more power than a 600, and also doesn't absolutely wreck your body to ride for hours at a time. Yeah, I'm very happy with this bike, and I think I'll be keeping it for at least a couple of years to enjoy, and then probably thinking about moving on to something else. So there we go. Thanks for watching, folks, and yeah, maybe do a 6-month review after the summer. Alright, cheers, take care, be safe, ride safe, and look after yourselves.